What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicolette. I read. This is Nicolette Reads. Let's do it! Recently, I've gotten a lot of books and I feel the need to talk about them. I figured I'd start with showing you all the books that I've gotten recently out of book subscription boxes. So I will be sure to tell you which box that they came out of, and if I can remember, I will tell you what month they were as well, because I don't know if they actually say what month inside of the book. And then after that, I just have some new books that I've gotten as well. And so we're just gonna go through it. I have 12 books to show you. And if you're wondering why this shelf is mostly empty, it's because this is where all of these were sitting until just now. That's not true. I took them off. It's where they're supposed to be. It's where they're supposed to be. That's where they will go after I tell you about them. Okay, so let's crack right into it. So the first book I'm gonna show you is Chain Gang All-Stars. The author is Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. This book is from the Aardvark Book Club monthly subscription. It is similar to, if you're familiar with Book of the Month, it's similar to that where they give you a few options, I think at least 5, and you get to choose which book you want from those options that they give you. I chose Chain Gang All-Stars. It's been hyped up recently on most anticipated lists for 2023, but it sounds very interesting. So this book is about women gladiators in a for-profit prison system. And essentially, I believe what happens is these women fight in matches to the death. And if you win, then you get to be free from prison. So, I mean, it's kind of like a commentary on for-profit prison systems in America, as well as kind of Gladiator, the film-esque. And I believe it's also about a friendship between two women, so it sounds really exciting, interesting, and like it would have something interesting to reflect on, you know, as a commentary of America's for-profit prison system as well. So I'm really excited to get to this one, and I'm really excited that Aardvark had it as an option for their book club as well. The next ones I'm going to talk about are what I chose for my Book of the Month books this month. The first one is The Adventures of Amina Alsarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I actually haven't read any of Shannon Chakraborty's other novels. She's also written the City of Brass series, which I have not read yet, but I've heard that people absolutely love. So I'm really excited to read this one. It's like a pirate adventure story. So this book follows our main character, Amina Alsarafi, who is a retired pirate who has decided to live a life of retirement, be a mother, do normal life stuff after a successful career as a pirate. But she's offered one more job that has, you know, an offer she couldn't refuse.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Somebody's daughter goes missing and she's asked to go get her crew back together, go find the daughter, and for a really hefty sum of money as a reward. So she says yes, but it turns out that there's more to this simple job than she really anticipated going for. And so, I mean, it's got pirates, it's got adventure, it's a lady pirate, which we love to see, and it's by an author that people really enjoy, and I haven't had the pleasure of reading yet, so I'm very excited to get to this novel as well. Okay, up next we have Kaikei by Vaishnavi Patel. Honestly, I haven't heard too much about what this story actually contains plot-wise, but I have seen a lot of people are loving this book. It's also one of the most highly anticipated books that is set to, and already did in this instance, come out this year. What I do know is that our lead character here, Kaikei, is a princess, and she is the only daughter of this kingdom, and she wants more, I don't know if autonomy or independence is exactly what she's looking for, but she finds in old texts from her childhood a magic that only she can wield or something like that. And then something threatens their kingdom and she has to decide whether or not the price of using her magic to defend or resist is worth the price that it will come along with. People have been really enjoying it, so I was really excited to see that Book of the Month was offering this one as well. Okay, up next we have Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. This is a Fairy Loot book from the most recent box, I believe their April or May box. The edition itself, this is essentially the same cover as the original, but it has these really cool edges that I think are really neat. And everybody says they don't like the side because it doesn't say the name of the book or the author, but I don't know. I think it's kind of cool, and also I'm going to display it on my shelves this direction, so it doesn't really matter to me anyway. The only thing I don't like about this edition itself is that you've got this really serious cover going on, but then the inside has this kind of cartoon thing happening on it. And it's independently from each other. I really like both of those styles. I think that both of them are really cute, but I don't know how well they work together. But regardless, when I'm reading it, it's not gonna have the dust jacket on it anyway, and really the only thing I care about is the naked book when I'm reading it and how I'm gonna display it on my shelf, which is like this. Anyway, Alexandra Bracken, I've read one of her books before, Lore. For me, that one was only probably like a 3.5-3-star read, but I did really enjoy what was happening and I enjoyed myself reading it. This one is about a character named Tamsin who is a hollower, which essentially is basically, my understanding of it is, picture like Indiana Jones, but instead of going into ancient crypts, they're going into places where sorceresses used to be. Treasure hunters, more or less, but from magic people. And she finds out about this ring that if she gets it can break a curse that her brother's under, so she wants to go get it, but apparently a lot of other people want it too, so she has to team up with her rival and go get it. She doesn't want to team up with him, obviously, but they're gonna go do this quest together. And it's like an Arthurian legend retelling, Knights of the Round Table, those kind of people. So I love Arthurian legend. I just think it's really cool. So I'm excited to see how that kind of plays together with this book and how it plays out and how it compares to the other book that I've read by this author, to see whether or not it was just because maybe it was one of her earlier releases and maybe this one she had more experience and more editing, something like that, or you know, what have you. So I'm excited to read this one so I can compare between the two. I will let you guys know what I think. Okay, next up we have Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. This is a Illumicrate edition that I got in the Illumicrate box, whichever one just came out, April or May. And what I know about this is it's something about a cult in space. So basically our main character is a really good warrior on this space station and she wants to avenge the death of Earth. Avenge it against who? I don't know. But she wants to avenge it, but instead her brother gets sent basically to die somehow, and she gets sent to be a child bearer in this space station, and so obviously she wants to escape that. So in order to do so, she teams up with her brother's friend and an alien, I guess, and they're gonna go try and, you know, save the day. It sounds like sci-fi Handmaid's Tale in space plus swords. It's giving if you put The Handmaid's Tale and The 100 together, I feel like. But that's really all I know about it. It's a very pretty edition, mainly because, again, the edges are really cute. Love that for me. And then also the inside end papers are just really beautiful. So, I mean, hey, listen, there's the aliens, there's space, there's cults. It's obviously more sci-fi than I'm used to, but I feel like anything that has aliens as well is gonna scratch that need for me. Does it have magic? I don't know, but apparently it has swords. So if there's not magic or swords, I'm out, but apparently it's got possibly both, so I'm here for it. Okay, next up we have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is Owlcrate's edition. I believe that I will be getting another copy of this book in another box coming up soon, so we can be sure to do a comparison of those two copies at that time. But this is by Rebecca Ross, who wrote A River Enchanted and its sequel, and I think another book that people all really enjoyed her writing. I have A River Enchanted. I haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited to because everybody seems to love it. But this one is about a girl who is struggling because her mom is struggling with addiction and her brother is on the front lines of some war because the gods woke up after centuries of sleeping, but her brother's missing, and somehow in order to fix this she wants to get a promotion at her newspaper job because that'll fix everything. I'm not really sure, but in order to get this promotion she's like slipping letters from her brother to her rival, who I think also works at the newspaper, and somehow I think they're gonna get to like the front lines of this war so that she can find her brother and do all of that. So when I first saw the cover of this book, I wasn't really sure what we were getting into. It looked very newspapery. Like look at the reverse for the dust jacket. Like it's giving 1940s New York newspaper office, but then it's talking about gods have been sleeping and they woke up and now there's some divine battle and she has to work with her rival in order to save her family and probably the world. So I think the stakes are a lot higher than I thought it was going to be, and people have been raving about her writing specifically. So I can't wait to try this author out myself and see what I think, especially since I already have A River Enchanted. And I've had that one for a while, but I just haven't ever felt like picking it up, I don't think. So I think maybe if I read this and I really like the style, I'll be more inspired to pick it up. This is dense, like it's heavy, but it also has really cute edges. And there's a ribbon in here? I didn't even notice that. Hey, what do you know? Ribbon bookmark. That's nice. The more I look at this edition, the more I like it. At first I wasn't a huge fan, but it's hefty. The reverse art, very cool, and I'm a sucker for a ribbon in a book. Why is that? I don't know. Okay, moving on. I don't actually have a subscription for the Fairy Loot adult book only box, but I saw this one on a different channel's unboxing and I thought it was gorgeous and I needed to have it. So I found somebody willing to sell it online and bought it from them and they shipped it to me. So I have In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. Look at this edition. It's the, like I said, it's the Fairy Loot adult version. I believe it's their April box. The original cover I'll put here. It's green, it's stringy. So here we still have like the treehouse aspect going on here. And then you flip it around and it's still going. And then the top is this nice plum. And then the bottom is here, but the true stunner here. Whoa, look at those edges. I mean, come on. Okay, and then the other thing that I really enjoy about this edition is these end papers inside continue the theme from outside so that it's all so cohesive. And look at this little guy. Look at him. Look at that little tiny baby robot. He is so cute. And the other thing that I really think is very neat is how if you have the dust jacket on and you open it up, even though that's not the same image that's right there, it is so cohesive you can't even really tell that it's not the same image. It just works together really well. And then the naked cover of this book too is just the cutest thing that I've ever seen. It's so pretty. And then we have Happy Robot here again, and then we have In the Lives of Puppets, and it's just, I had to have it. I just had to. I have read Under the Whispering Door by the same author, and for me it was only like a 3.5 star read. I liked it, I cried, but it didn't blow my mind. But this one has such an interesting premise, so let me tell you about it. So this book follows a human and 3 robots that live in the trees, and one day a different robot shows up and he knows one of the robots that is part of this little foursome of a family. One day, a new robot shows up who knows this Giovanni robot from their past life of both hunting humans, and then, oops, they give away the location of this robot, and then I think he gets taken because he's either gonna get decommissioned or reprogrammed, and they have to go save this robot because he's part of their family, and, you know, misadventures along the way. And I love cute robots with personalities. I'm a big R2-D2 girl, love me some Wall-E. So I'm just so excited to have happy little robots and have a little cute story about them. It is inspired by Swiss Family Robinson, which I know there's like a older version made in the 19-something or others, but I am more familiar with the one they made more recently. At some point, a robot goes, "Danger, Will Robinson." That's all I know. So if they don't reference that at some point in this book, I'll be lightly upset. I think it's just a beautiful copy, and I think it's gonna be a cute story, and I can't wait to read it. So props to Fairy Loot for this one. I know their adult box has just been having some bangers recently, so I'm excited to eventually get off their waitlist and unbox those for you guys too. Okay, next up we have Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I couldn't help myself. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody loves it. I mean, it's such a cute book. It's not even a special edition, and it has these gorgeous stenciled edges. I mean, and then you take off the dust jacket and it's so goth and emo and cool. You know, even if you just saw it on the shelf, I feel like it pulls people in just to buy it. It is a tale, if you don't already know. The world in this book is basically one big continent split up into probably 3 countries, and the biggest one is supported military-wise with dragon riders. Our main character is the daughter of the general who is in charge of basically this entire military fort where they do the dragon rider training. She reluctantly goes to the dragon rider training program, but the problem is probably 10% of the people who try and join this program make it out alive by the end of their 3-year training, and that's because not only are the dragons possibly going to murder you before you even bond with one, you could also just die during training, and it's allowed for the other cadets to just murder you if they want to. It's been compared to Hunger Games meets, you know, Man in Black, Beacon the 13, and Throne of Glass, but it also has more spice, so people are comparing it a little bit to ACOTAR. So it's got a lot of buzzwords for things to compare it to. I'm so excited to read this book. We're all doing it. The stack is astronomical. Okay, next up, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I'm sure you've heard about this one as well. R.F. Kuang wrote so many things that everybody loves, and which, again, I haven't read any of. So this is gonna be my first R.F. Kuang book. She is typically a fantasy writer. She wrote The Poppy War, she wrote Babel. She wrote so many things that so many people have just been raving about for the last few years, honestly. So I'm so excited to pick up a book of hers, even though it's not technically in her normal genre. Yellowface is a story about 2 authors. I believe they're women who are friends, and one's really hitting her stride with her writing career, the other one's kind of really not. And the one who's hitting her stride is Asian. She just wrote this manuscript and she thinks it's really good, and she shows her friend who's white, and the white friend is like, this book seems really good. And then I believe the Asian friend dies.
Their parents are dead.
And the white friend takes the manuscript, edits it a little bit, and then says that she wrote it and then publishes it. She changes her name to be more ethnically ambiguous so that it might be... My dog's playing with toys. She changes her name to sound more Asian influenced, I believe, and she makes her author photo make her look less white, I think, and so she's more ethnically ambiguous there too. And then I think she gets caught up in this world where she's pretending to be something that she's not, and I don't think she can keep up the ruse very much. It's also sort of a commentary on society and things like that, but it's Yellowface, and the thing that I really find so clever, obviously it's a face and the cover is yellow, and so it's a yellow face on top of a white book, and I was like, oh, you, to the publishers, because I mean, if that isn't, but with a yellow inside, I mean, come on, come on. Who? I don't know. Somebody did a good job there. Nearly done, guys. 3 left. Next up, we have Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I am a big Sanderson fan, big Sanderson girly. I've read everything that he's put out except I'm almost done with Rhythm of War, and then I have Lost Metal, and then I'm gonna read Tress. So if you don't know, this is the first secret project that he's putting out. So he did a Kickstarter that raised $42 million, biggest Kickstarter in the history of Kickstarters, and he wrote 4 books in addition to all the books that he already puts out all of the time. I'm blown away. So he wrote 4 standalones, 3 of which exist in his universe called the Cosmere, and 1 of which I believe has nothing to do with anything at all. But since this one does exist in the Cosmere, and the Cosmere is basically his universe where all of his books take place, everything is interconnected somehow. So as much as I want to sit down and read this immediately, I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to show some self-discipline, and I'm gonna finish Rhythm of War, and then the Lost Metal, and then Tress because that's the order of publication, and I don't want to spoil myself on anything, but basically really all I know about this, because I want to go in as blind as possible and I skip this part of any booktube video that I see people talking about it because I want to go in completely blind. But what I do know is Tress is a girl that lives on an island surrounded by water that might be weird water, not positive, and she has a little companion mouse friend and she goes on an adventure, and that's all I know, and I want to keep it that way. No one tell me anything. I want to be surprised. And it's just, and she's a thick boy, and we have cute little M papers, and it's leather bound. I think that's her little mouse friend, but it's this beautiful leather. And then the second one, the Frugal Wizard's Handbook to something, is coming out relatively soon. So I want to get through Rhythm of War, The Lost Metal, and Tress before that comes out so I can be all caught up and continue on this journey with everybody. But I think this is just, it's a really heavy, but what else do we expect from Sanderson? It's beautiful, it's well bound, and from what I can tell, I think it's cozy fantasy, sort of. I don't think the stakes are as high as typically Sanderson likes to write, so I'm really excited to see what the heck this is all about. I want to be as blind as everybody else that got these secret project books, and I'm going to. I am determined. Next up we have A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. I was a English literature and creative writing major in college, just one of my majors. The other one was studio art. And whenever I would do creative writing projects, I would always write from the perspective of old men. I don't know why. Don't ask me questions. I don't have answers for you. I just think they're so cute and curmudgeon-y. I love a curmudgeon-y old man. I think it's fascinating because men, but when they're old, I think they reflect on how they should have been, how they could have been, and how they feel about the people in their lives now, especially if they're the last ones, like if everyone has died around them and they're just kind of existing in this world where they have a lot of feelings and emotions, but they don't want to talk about it. And so I've read a novella by Frederick Bachman, and I believe it's called Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer. If you're close with your grandparents and they have dementia or anything like that and you want to cry, you just go ahead, you just read that little novella. You're welcome. Have a nice little sit down sob, whatever you want to do. But I'm excited to read A Man Called Ove, and then obviously the movie came out. They call it A Man Called Otto with Tom Hanks. I don't know. I believe this is originally Norwegian, and when he wrote it, it was in Norwegian, and maybe Ove and Otto are interchangeable in Norway. I have no idea. But why change it for them? I don't know. I don't know why they changed it for the movie, but in any case, I'm really excited. I love reading about little old men. And so Tuesdays with Morrie was great for me, or The 5 People You Meet in Heaven was great for me. I just, give me little old men. Like, I want to cry maybe a little. I don't know. It's not that long, and I think it's gonna be fun. Last one, people. We have The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I know what you're thinking. Nicolette, so many of the books that have been on this list we already know about. They're all over BookTube. I know, that's why I bought them. I've been convinced by the people on here, and so some of these I got because they've been on most anticipated lists. Some of these I got because people are reading them, because other people are reading them, and some of them I got because people are reading them and loved them. This one is the middle one, where everybody's buying it. I think everybody loves it. I'm hearing mixed reviews on the sequels, but I'm really excited about it. I really don't know that much about it, other than I think there's vampires, and it's spicy, it's definitely adult, and it has content warnings, so if you are a content warning type of girly, look those up before you start on this adventure, because I don't want to lead you astray. What I think this is about is there's a vampire king, and he kills everybody except her in a human town village, and then raises her as his own. And then she wants to not be so vulnerable, so she has to win a competition of all the vampire houses, and in order to do this, she teams up with a rival who's a hot vampire. And so there's gonna be enemies to lovers, rivals, maybe fated. I don't know what the tropes are in here. I'm just excited to be here. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's probably gonna end up being more in the realm of, oops, I forgot that I was supposed to have a plot as part of this book, and lean more heavily into the fantasy romance aspect of it. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. You know, so we'll just see how this goes. It's kind of hefty. We have 22 books on this book haul / TBR list. Obviously, I'm not gonna be able to get to all of these in the next month or so, so it's not my actual TBR, but it's what I will be reaching for until I acquire even more books to tell you people about. So, Serpent and the Wings of Night, that's gonna round out my haul here. I mean, it's so many. It's so many. And so many of them are so pretty. And so I'm just excited to get into it, honestly. Let me know if you guys have read these. Which ones are you most excited about? Do you want me to do a vlog review of any of these so that I read it and you don't have to? What's the situation? Tell me about your hopes and dreams, and thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you want to interact in any way with this video, it would mean the world to me. Just click the like. What's it gonna do? Unless you hated it and you don't want any more of this content, then don't do that. Or do it and then undo. I don't know how it works. Hit subscribe if you feel like it, or don't. It's your world. I'm just living in it. Thank you for joining. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Why did I end it like a phone conversation? What am I trying to say?